Well, this will be a different piece of content. If you haven't heard by now, TD Jakes, Black folks is the minorities, grandfather, prophet, messenger. He's getting backlash for a sermon that he did last month for Father's Day. Once again, people have taken something out of context. People do it on both sides of the political aisle. People do it whatever belief or wherever you stand on a particular subject. I do it. We all do it. At some point, we can have something been taken out of context. But the reason why I wanted to cover this particular piece on TD Jakes, someone took a snippet of his sermon, and obviously, as you can see the headline, "We are raising our women to be men. Stop bragging about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away." Bishop TD Jakes preaches about the state of black culture. That I'm obviously a minority in this country. I love this country. I love America. I understand all the opportunities that are presented to us in this country. But someone posted this and it went viral and it got a lot of heat behind it. So TD Jakes is getting a lot of backlash behind it. Do I agree with everything that TD Jakes stands for? Do I think TD Jakes is a part of the collective? Do I think that he supports a lot of those talking heads that are putting us in the problems that we have today in America? Yes. But there is a lot of wisdom and other things that he says that I agree on. But this is important because the clip that I'm about to show you that went viral, he didn't say nothing wrong. But people took it out of context, not going to actually research, just going off what the headlines say, not actually look up the whole sermon and watch the whole sermon, and then they will fully understand what the guy is talking about. So I want to show the snippet that went viral. Then I want to go over a few of the comments on how people's thought process are. That lets me know that they didn't do any research. They didn't go watch the sermon. And then I want to show you some video clips that I've abstracted from the actual sermon that gives it a little more context and then give you my opinion and commentary on it. So please enjoy. Ride with me. It's going to be a heck of a message. We all know that the state of our country's culture and communities across this nation is in dire need. They're in peril. They're in great danger if we don't hurry up and start making changes. And I tell people all the time, everything rises and falls on leadership. And here we are, a black pastor that pastors to the minorities. They look up to him like the Godfather, Messiah messenger, descended straight down from heaven. And a lot of times he's got good messages. So let me play the clip and then we'll go into it. And I'm really excited about this because this is something that I'm passionate about. It's trying to fix and combat the destructive culture that is really running rampant in our country and the poor leadership. So here we go.
This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now, because we are raising up women to be men. And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you are climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families.
And that is a fact. And that is a fact.
I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder.
So there you have it. And honestly, I don't see nothing wrong with what he said. I think that was completely right over target, and it was very truthful. And obviously, we see how people react when they hear truth. TD Jakes has been in the game for a minute. He's been around for a while. This is the celebrity pastor that everybody loves. And now all of a sudden they don't like what he's saying. And he wasn't the only one, the only messenger that has been attacked for trying to tell the truth. People like myself, Brandon, Candace Owens, Ben Carson, Thomas Sowell. I mean, we could go, Larry Elder, we could go down the list. There's a lot of different messengers out there that people don't receive it. They don't like it, right? I think, and I always tell people this, in no way am I trying to take you out of church. I'm a work in progress Christian just like anybody else. I am not a historian of the Bible. I'm not an expert of the Bible, a theologian. I'm none of the above. I'm just a work in progress Christian like anybody else. But I know in that great book, that Bible, it says that the prophet, not saying that I'm a prophet or any of these people are prophets, but the metaphoric message of what I'm trying to say is we're not welcome in our own cities. We're not welcome in our own land, right? Basically, people don't accept the message that we are giving them because it challenges them to change. It challenges them to change. But T.D. Jakes is not the only person. We just lost a great messenger, Kevin Samuels. They didn't like what Kevin Samuels, even through his death, they disrespected the man and didn't like what he had to say. And he was challenging communities across America, women and men. But there's people in this country that perceive that he was only attacking women. No, I've seen him getting on men too. He was challenged the status quo for them to get better, to change their ways, because where we are now, it's destructive. And all of it is all intertwined, and it plays in a role for the overall picture for us to all move forward as a people in this country. And our whole entire nation is suffering for it. Children and generations to come are suffering for it if we don't start making the actions and the changes now to change it. So I want to go over some of the comments. This is one particular comment that was put on another page. I think women take on, let me make sure. Yeah, I think women take on so many roles in the family dynamic is because men aren't stepping up to the plate, and so many of them leave women hanging. So we have no choice but to do their jobs plus ours, and now they want to blame us for it. If we don't do it, then it would never get done. Okay. And there's some other ones. No one ever asked black women why we ain't getting degrees, starting businesses, buying houses, and doing things on our own. The reason is because men are not even providing the basics. I would have gladly stayed home if my man could afford it. Okay. Let me scroll through some more. Here's another one. Why is this even discussed in a church? Huh? Why do we keep pinning the downfall of black families on each other? Why can't we see who the real enemy is? And who is the real enemy? Here we go. What is this? Why is there so much division? This is sickening. I'm going to just stop it there. The comments, they go on, and then that's where the condition starts at the church. On the comment below it, let me scroll up. That's where the conditioning starts at the church, the biggest platforms where they can spread this rhetoric. So I guess what T.D. Jakes is saying is rhetoric. And once again, like I said earlier in the video, people took something out of context. They went exactly what the headlines are, which we know media, journalists, they're criminals, and people that take snippets and not give full context of what the person is talking about. There's people out there that don't do no more research past that. They just look at the headlines and they run with that, and they go off their emotional reaction. And this is exactly what's happening. There's plenty more comments that are like this, but this one really, really stuck out to me the most. The other ones had valid points. What we are doing what the men, are supposed to be doing. I would gladly stay home if my man basically made enough and afforded enough for me to do so. So a lot of the grievances and complaints from women are very valid, and I agree. And if they would have went and looked at his full sermon, they would have got full context of T.D. Jakes speaking about that, which I'm going to go into here shortly. But this comment here really rubbed me wrong. Talking about why is this being discussed in the church? Where else is it being discussed? Kevin Samuels discussed about it. I'm clearly discussing about it. There's many other people that I know that are discussing they're discussing the topic. So if it's not supposed to be discussed in the church, when, where, and who, what, when, and where is supposed to discuss the topic? Because it's obvious when we do start discussing it, you guys plug your ears and you're combative and you don't want to hear it. And this ain't just women. This is men too. Where are we supposed to talk about it? Another thing she said, why do we keep pinning the downfall of black families on each other? No one is pinning anything on black families. We know that there's other aspects to the downfall. I ain't even going to say downfall because we can recover it. But we know that there was other contributive factors that played in the downward spiral that we are constantly going in right now. I don't even have to begin to go on with y'all's black messiah, talking about the minority Eeyores of this country, Barack Obama, the statistics that he already gave you with single family homes. Children growing up in single family homes are 5 times more likely to living in poverty and committing a crime, 9 times more likely to dropping out of school, and 20 times more likely to go into prison. I got even more statistics that can go further than that. 7 times more likely to becoming a pregnant teenager. We all know what's going on and what's centered around right now with the overruling of Roe versus Wade. They're upset about abortions. The people are in this country thinking that abortions are going to be stopped. All these behaviors, all this single family, the broken homes, we know that there's contributing factors to it, but we can't continue to point the finger at the white man. We can't continue to keep pointing the finger at the government and then in the same sense keep voting insanely for the Democratic Party that constantly wants to keep you suckling on welfare. We can't keep blaming it on the welfare state. We can't keep blaming it on the woman. We can't keep blaming it on the man. At what point do we take personal responsibility? At what point do we take the actions to change things? You don't want pastors talking about it. You didn't like Kevin Samuels talking about it, and I'm sure you ain't going to like what I'm talking about. Here's some more statistics. There are 2 single-family homes. Children are also growing into adults 2 times more likely to becoming obese. We hear the rhetoric around obesity now, that diets are racist, that the diet don't work the same for black women and black men, different than their white counterparts. And I'm not even trying to make this a white and black thing. I just understand that some of y'all that come across my channel that mistakenly think that this is BET and it has rap videos and getting out of debt commercials, you'll come across my page and it's a message that's well needed. But I do need you to know that there's people that look just like me and you that are conservative and think the same way that I do. And they know that what I'm saying is it's a harsh truth. So I don't want you thinking that, oh, my whole entire audience is only one particular shade of color. The message goes for all of us across the board. White folks are being affected by this too. If we compare the statistics from just the 50s and the 60s, divorce rates, single family home rates are changing for everybody. Not just white, it's for Spanish, black folks, any other ethnicity. But if we were going to talk about us, minorities in this country, minority Americans, we know that single family homes is up near over 70%. It's bad. And these statistics, they show all of them that I just lived. 1 out of 4 children live without a biological father or a stepfather in the home. So we know the pitfalls of how we've been living so far. Government welfare, single family homes. Are there strong women out there? Absolutely. He just listed them all. You got your own house, your own car, your own money. You're doing business. You get degrees. You constantly profess how you don't need a man no more. But we got to sit back. We got to take a step back and ask ourselves, through your success and hard work, through you taking on the role of a man, well, what the men are supposed to do, is that really helping us? Because T.D. Jakes just said it. We're losing our families while you climb up the corporate ladder. And it's true. The statistics, they prove it. Kevin Samuels once said, what do you mean? How are you successful? And he listed off the same statistics that I just listed off. Yeah, you're successful in the corporate ladder, but your children are suffering. It was something T.D. Jakes said in his sermon. He said, women are having trouble with husbands because they didn't have a father. They didn't have an example of what a husband's supposed to be. And men are having problems being fathers because they didn't have a father in their home. They don't have an example, someone to pour into them on what a father should be. And then he even went a step further. He said some of them got fathers that are present, but they don't have their presence there in the home. So there's a difference. So these type of outrages, manufactured emotional outrages from just going off of headlines without doing further research, it's detrimental. And it perpetuates it more. An anger and a resentment and an attitude towards groups of people, towards the opposite sex, or what that might be. He also even talked about men that didn't have fathers in the home seeking other men to give them that attention that they didn't get from the father that they were supposed to have, talking about that gay community. So he hit it on all cylinders. I want to go into some of the clips that TD Jakes. As I do this, I'm gonna let it play. I may have to stop it just for YouTube copyrights. But when I say I'm gonna go on to the next clip, you're gonna see it just edit it and cut straight to the next clip. So here we go. This is gonna give you the context to show you that they took what he said out of context. That it wasn't in no way him attacking women, but it was more so explaining the roles from a biblical standpoint. And I know not everybody is a Christian. I know not everybody is a religion, or some people that may be watching this may be atheists or not believe on anything. And I'm sorry, but I'm a Christian, and this message is so important to our society. And you may even agree that the roles are out of place, that our society is upside down. Family units are upside down, and that there is an agenda and a push to destroy that natural order that God has set in place, or what you may think is science, or whatever you believe in. The message is important. So let's hear what he has to say. This is going to give you the context.
When Adam is created and Eve is pulled out of him, he breaks the divine order, because men were designed to pour in when he started receiving from her. If Adam had not allowed Eve to pour into him, sin would have never come into the world. Sin came into the world because Adam broke the order. We were not designed to receive from women.
Do you understand what he just said? That is powerful. Men are not designed to be in the positions that they are in this country. For whatever reason it may be, the man is not designed to be asking for lunch money from women, which he's going to go into.
Your self-esteem is compromised when you have to ask your wife for lunch money. I'm not saying you got to be rich. I'm not saying you got to be famous. I'm saying that you have got to be the one who pours in, not the one who takes out. When Adam started eating out of his wife's hand, sin came in because the divine order was broken.
I'm going to pause it there, and then I'm going to go to the next clip. But what he just said was so powerful. Even right now, if we look in our fleshly lives, from him trying to correlate from a biblical standpoint, how Adam started receiving from Eve, sin crept in the natural order. The sin crept in. Things went out of natural order. We can see it right now with our own society, that the roles have changed, that the family units are broken, and how it's trickling down to our children. And now we have the data to be able to track it, and we can see how detrimental it is of us knocking things out of natural order. And when I say that, I'm not saying it as if, because somebody's going to say, oh, you sound like a male chauvinist or whatever. I'm not saying it to be male masculinity toxicity. I'm not saying a woman's place is to just be in the kitchen. But there once upon a time was a tradition where the things were different. The men went out to provide. But our society has changed. So let me go on to the next clip.
And you are designed to take what we pour into you and increase it and make it better. You increase it, you appreciate it, and you multiply it. This breaks all sociological orders of the culture we're living in now, because we are raising up women to be men.
And this is the clip that I had showed y'all before. He's going right into it.
And you are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society by how tough, rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you are climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families. I know you can buy your own car. I know you can buy your own house. But until you create a need that I can pour into, I have no place in your life. So stop coming home bragging to me about how much you don't need me and wonder why I shy away.
And there you go. That's pretty much the context of it. There's so much more to it, but obviously I don't want this video to be too long. I have to kind of give it to you in snippets. But I'm going to put the link into the description so that you can find the full sermon. It's worth every bit of the 45 to 50 something odd minutes to watch. It was a Father's Day sermon. He's actually not getting on women, but they took that one clip and people ran with it, and they only went off the headlines without context, and they start spewing out the rhetoric. Not what he's saying is rhetoric. What he's saying is very truthful and real. And he actually, at one point of the sermon, was talking about how men have lied to women. They've dropped the ball. They've treated women pretty much bad. And they force women into this role for many reasons. And it's been detrimental to us ever since. And I love the fact that he used the biblical sense of it so that we can understand from a spiritual aspect of our lives, which is why I'm a Christian, and I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. But again, no way am I trying to take you to church. The message is so important because I constantly am talking about destructive culture. If we do not start getting it right, we are going to continue to go into this downward spiral. We have to try to find healing. We have to try to take responsibility of some sort and have better understanding. And his whole message was about the position that a father should be in, and that there's a void. Some men don't have an example of how to be a father. Some men, or they did have the example, and the father just wasn't present, right? People yearn his presence, right? So he gives plenty examples on the subject. But what I would like people to know is this: we know that there's something to change. We need to do something to change in our society, right? Where we're going right now, it is hurting our society. The destructive culture, all the way from rap music, all the way from the single-parent homes, indiscriminately having children, to abortions, to violence. I mean, the buckets, we can hit all the buckets, and they're all entwined that affect all of us. This is not a black issue. It's not a specifically or any particular color of people in this country issue. It affects all of us. And I want to open the dialogue through shedding light on this video, on the backlash that TD Jakes is giving, to try to gather the thoughts from you guys. And what's your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you have more context and understanding of what he's trying to say? Do you understand what I'm trying to say, as far as giving you my opinion and commentary on the video, right? So if it's your first time watching the channel, I'm going to cut it short. Please subscribe. I thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. If you guys enjoyed this, if you like the message, please like, comment, and share. Please put your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. I'd like to know what your thoughts on our society, on our family units in our country. Are we all continually going down a downward spiral, and we can see the ramification effects of these actions that are coming from men and women? Do you understand what he's saying from a biblical standpoint, a spiritual standpoint of the natural order of how God has things for us? And can you see what I'm trying to say as far as how it's relating to us now as we live out our natural lives as humans? So put it in the comments. I would love to read them. Thank you, guys. Y'all know what time it is. It's your boy Craig Long 45, and I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, oi.